Okay, so we're on a service call today. We have a two-story house with one air conditioner for the first floor and another air conditioner for the second floor. That's common with two-story houses. Since heat rises and you have different climates, different conditions on the two levels, oftentimes one unit with one thermostat won't keep both levels satisfied. So what we're going to do first, we've already verified that the thermostat is on inside. So we're going to take the electrical cover off and we're going to verify that we have 24 volts going to the contactor. Okay, so now we have the cover off, and interestingly enough, I was checking the thermostat wire for any nicks, and sure enough, there's a nick right there, but it doesn't seem to be shorted. I can hear the contactor buzzing. It looks like it's pulled in. I haven't verified it yet. But when I was checking the thermostat wire, I heard the contactor clicking on and off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check all of my connections before that, so that I don't get any short cycling or any other issues. I am going to pull the disconnect. And while I have the disconnect out, I'm going to check the fuses. All right, so there's my fuses. I'm going to take my meter, set it to continuity, and make sure both of my fuses are good. Good fuse. Good fuse. Now let's see if I can get in here and check the 24 volts. And since I'm going to need both hands, I'm going to have to pause and come back. Okay, so I checked and I did have 24 volts at my contactor. But the problem was there was a connection down here that was very loose and causing the contactor to jog on and off as I was moving the thermostat wire. Fortunately, there's enough slack in the thermostat wire that I can kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to cut where this insulation's already cut, and I'm going to pull this end up into and make this my new connection right here. So I'm going to have the thermostat shut off, or else we're going to short either the thermostat or the fuse inside when I go to cut this. So we're going to turn the thermostat off, cut here, and then resplice our wires. The other thing I'm noticing is the compressor never came on. So that's not the only problem that we had. And if we look at our capacitor, see if you can tell, that top is ballooned out, it's swelled out. And that's very common of a bad capacitor. So what I'm going to do is take that capacitor off, and we'll pull out our capacitor checker and see if we are out of range of our microfarads. Okay, so I'm here with my capacity tester. And you see the terminals were really rusty. So what I did is I took a pocket knife. You can take a knife or a flathead screwdriver or some sandpaper, wire brush, and clean up just enough of the terminals so that you can get good contact. So I cleaned up one side of it, of a couple of the blades, and I make sure I got good contact. I check it, and I get no reading. So again, this way this capacitor swelled up. I'm going to wiggle around. I'm going to make sure that I'm getting a good connection, and I'm going to do that a couple times just to verify, maybe even clean them up a little bit more. But when you have a capacitor swelled up like this, I've never seen one swell up and still be good. But you know, again, we're technicians, not parts changers, so we're going to do all the tests that we can to make sure this is a bad capacitor before we replace it. Okay, so here we are, we're back. We've got the new correct microfarad capacitor in. Make sure, don't be a parts changer, check them, make sure that's what's bad. Even though that's a common part to go bad, you always want to check it. We cut out the bad section. There was enough slack in the wire that we were able to cut where the insulation was cut and do a new splice connection. I left the green wire long and wrapped it around in case I ever need an extra wire for anything. What I'm going to do before I put this back together is I'm going to tape up the wire nuts so they can't come loose again. And at some point in the future, we're going to schedule to do a condenser cleaning on this one. But that's it. We checked everything out. Everything looks good now. It's running good again. Thank you. Remember, again, I can't stress enough, don't just be a parts changer.